and envying her friends their happy endings. There's got to be one man in this damned city who's worth dating. What about humans? Abby offered. Melissa glanced at her friend. She might love her dearly, but she didn't have her father's restraint. Dating a human with all that lovely, warm blood would be one long exercise in resisting temptation, and she had never been big on self-denial. No, she needed an immortal that could handle her superior strength, not to mention the occasional bouts of bloodlust. I don't think so, she replied, not wanting to offend. Well, let's look at your profile preferences. Abby's fingers flew over the keyboard of the ancient desktop computer perched on the side of her desk. Though the matchmaker had managed to nab one of the most powerful vampires in the city, she was still cooped up in a tiny office that sported only one small window and an ugly metal filing cabinet. Melissa knew she'd get claustrophobic working in there every day, but Abby seemed to love it. Lord knew Lucian had the money to ensure the mortal never worked another day in her life, but Abby refused to leave. She liked having a hand in bringing people together. If only she could work her talents on me, Melissa mused. I think we should open up your were-creature options, Abby said, focusing on her screen. Right now you'll only consider predatory species. I know a really nice weremouse I could set you up with. Melissa arched a brow. Vampires were predators by nature. She wanted similar instincts in a mate. And again, beggars couldn't be choosers, and for the first time in her life it seemed she'd fallen into that category. Fine, she said. All wares welcome. Maybe I'll meet that one special were-squirrel that changes my opinion forever. Done, Abby said with a few clicks of her mouse. Now, the only other restrictions you have are on what we call the death races. Vampires, she clarified. Despite her fangs, she'd never been a fan of dating her own species. When you dealt with immortals centuries old, you tended to uncover master manipulators and ancient beings whose sanity was beginning to wear. I keep telling you, any age gap of more than a century causes issues. Abby leveled her with an annoyed stare. You know your father is several hundred years older than I am. It was true Lucian cornered the market on ancient beings in New York. Hell, he'd been old as dirt when he'd first come into her life. She still remembered looking across the tavern as a young child and seeing him prowl toward her and her mother. Though not a drop of blood related them, Lucian had been the only father she'd ever known. And when an accident had nearly killed her, he'd saved her the only way he could. Hence her current penchant for drinking blood and avoiding the sun. Melissa waved her hand. Lucian doesn't count. You guys broke all the other rules anyway. Age was the least of your worries. Shaking her head, Abby turned back to the computer. I know you don't like dating vamps, but there are other beings in the category. It covers demons, ghouls, phantoms, and necromancers. Demons are even more vicious than my people are, she said, ticking off the types on her fingers. Ghouls tend to be messy with their food. Carcasses in bed, severed fingers in the coffee pots. Such a drag in the mornings. As for phantoms, they are literally incorporeal. I'm not quite ready to swear off sex in order to have a meaningful relationship. That just leaves necromancers. All the fun of a human with the durability and lifespan of an immortal. Abby? The single word was a reproof. The other woman sighed. I know. I'm surprised their kind is even allowed to join Fated Match. I know there are issues between the necromancer and the vamp population, but that still leaves the rest of the supernatural world for them to date in. They need help finding their mates just as much as any other species. Certainly no member of a death race would go near them, not with the trouble they've caused in the past, and their ability to control the dead. I'm not taking a chance on a man who could make me hop up and down on one foot with the snap of his fingers. She looked away. Besides, you know as well as I do, Lucian has been dealing with uprisings in the necromancer community for weeks. Abby sighed. It's probably just as well. With them banned from major cities, you'd be looking at a long-distance relationship anyway. Her fingers tapped against the keys before she shook her head.